Hey, One Piece fans, this is Chris Bolts, and I'm coming in with a One Piece episode recap and review. Episode 1136, Kuma's Life, or Kuma no Jinsei, as this says right here in Japanese. But before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And if you watch this video all the way to the end, I really do appreciate your support. Now, as the title says, this episode was pretty much all about Kuma's life. Pretty much the entire ending of this episode was just a recap of his life. And before we get into that, we actually have 2 years ago, right before the events of the war at Marineford, we have Bonnie right here who was going around searching for her father. They got tips that her father was on this particular island right here. They get on there. And of course, the Navy thinks that Bonnie and her crew was actually attacking people and the elderly. You see one of the Navy men sit right here, say that targeting only the weak, they're absolute trash. But we all know the powers of Bonnie. She has the ability to age people to whatever age she likes, if she can age them to children or she can age them up all the way to senior citizen status. And you see right here, they're going around asking for clues about if they've seen Kuma. You see Kuma right here in the foreground, a giant man. Yes, I just saw him at the edge of town. So they're running around looking for him. But obviously, Kuma does not want them to find him because he's not supposed to see Bonnie. He's upholding his end of the bargain that he made with Saint Saturn, the Celestial Dragons, and the world government. And he's staying away from her as much as he can. And of course, like I said, these are all events that are taking place before Marineford. And remember last episode, we saw Luffy training that battle axe, and we're right here at the Arlong Pirates where he kicked through the ceiling and he's getting ready to use his battle axe that he trained so hard for. This one event has put Straw Hat Luffy and his pirate crew on the map as a very notorious pirate. Lots of this news going around. We see Sabo and Monkey D. Dragon, Luffy's father, reacting to the news. We got Ace and Jinbei reacting to the news. Ace showing himself as a proud brother. Jinbei being pissed off that his brother is just as troublesome as Ace is. What? The kid who beat the Arlong Pirates is your brother? So yeah, we got that going on right there. We got Bonnie trying to fit in as an adult, trying to become more feminine and everything like that, despite the fact we all know that she's only 10 years old at this point in time. And then we go a little bit further right here. We got Kuma making an observation of all the cyborgs that were based upon it. They even copied the clothes down as well. Vegapunk is telling Kuma that everything's going really well with the production of the clone soldiers right there. Kuma is hearing all this news. He's reminiscing, or rather not reminiscing, or thinking about how his child and Monkey D's Dragon's child has become famous pirates. They actually went the complete opposite direction of both of them. Although Kuma is known as a tyrant king, he's also known as a pirate. He's known as a revolutionary. He's known as a Navy dog, and now he's going to become a cyborg working on behalf of the government. Bonnie did take one route that her father did, and that's of course becoming a pirate. Monkey D. Dragon obviously went on to become a revolutionary, and Luffy is going on to become a pirate, taking on the world government. If we go back and think about the events that happened on Sabaody Archipelago, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, and also things that happened on Gecko Moria, we know that Kuma was instrumental in a lot of those actions that was going on there. Thriller Bark, we know that Kuma appeared on that island. He was there to capture the Straw Hats, most specifically Monkey D. Luffy, and obviously his crew was not going to go ahead and betray their captain. That's when Kuma shot that Ursa Shock. You guys all remember this from Thriller Bark. The most important action that took place that I think is poignant for all of One Piece was when Zoro decided to take on the pain and suffering of Luffy, as you can see right here. And of course, he took that without hesitation. And Kuma's right there saying that even such an event would knock him out. Zoro takes it like a champ. So we got that event going on right there. We know that because the world government captured Ace, the Whitebeard Pirates was going to go to war against the Navy, and they wanted Kuma to go there and also be a part of that war. We got Bonnie right there, which I don't know why they're drawing her sitting around like this. I digress on that point. We got her loyal crew standing behind her. When they go to the Sabaody Archipelago, a very major event happened, and we all know what that event was. That was when Monkey D. Luffy put hands on a celestial dragon. And that even surprised Kuma, who was like, this guy is going to be saving a fish man from captivity. And he decided that he wants to put all of his faith in the Straw Hat crew in changing the world. At the time, when this first came out, we were like, oh my God, this giant warlord is getting rid of, oh, by the way, Kuma is also known as a warlord. Yeah, he appeared on the island and he started just wiping all these characters out. And we didn't know at the time what was going on. Maybe those of you who read the manga, you did know, but those of us who were watching the anime were like, what the heck is going on? All we see are the Straw Hat crew just being whisked away at the wipe of a hand. And Luffy so downtrodden that he couldn't save any of his friends from that type of action. And that was basically Kuma telling him, hey, you guys are not ready for the new world. If you can't handle me, you're not going to be able to handle some of the beasts that are going to be coming your way. So he actually provided an act of benevolence on the Straw Hat crew, doing what he did, whisking them away to certain parts of the region, sending Luffy. I think Luffy actually was sent to Marineford, or I forget where it was actually. I don't think he was sent directly to Marineford. I think he got captured and he was put in jet prison before he went to Marineford. Usopp obviously was sent to that one island where that had nothing but lush greenery. Sanji was sent to Ivankov. Nami was sent to the weather area. I'm trying to think all of this off the top of my head. Zoro was sent to train with the greatest swordsman in all of One Piece, Hawkeye Mihawk. Nico Robin was sent to the Revolutionaries to be trained there. And we know Frankie was sent to a mysterious island where he got in contact with some of Dr. Vegapunk's cybernetic work. And Brook, he was sent elsewhere, as well as Chopper. Man, I'm just trying to pull all that from memory, what happened to these guys. So Kuma actually performed an act of benevolence. The rest of this episode is pretty much just a recap of Kuma's life. But before we get into that, Dr. Vegapunk is being commanded by Saturn that you are to take away his free will. No ifs, ands, or buts. Don't care about him not being able to meet his daughter again in the future. You will do this command. Of course, Dr. Vegapunk doesn't want to. And let me just tell you something right now. This one episode could have replaced all the prior episodes and we would have still gotten the idea about what was going on with Kuma's life. Sometimes I think Eiichiro Oda overemphasizes the story to the point that it can cause people to lose interest. But this one episode right here could have just summarized everything that happened in Kuma's life, and we would have still gotten the picture about all the pain, all the suffering, the sorrow, the grief he felt when he couldn't save Jenny. He chose not to marry Jenny. That's one of the regrets that he carries on for the rest of his life. He carries on the regret of being a slave. He carries on the regret of seeing his father be murdered in front of him, his mother being taken away, and God knows what happened to her. All this stuff that was poured into him, and then later on in his life as he became a revolutionary, a tyrant king, a warlord, a pirate. We would have gotten all of that in this one episode. But of course, the one thing that Kuma does not do is he does not carry any regrets. And I want to just bring this more personal, well, not personal to me, but something that's going on with someone in real life who also took the same attitude. If you guys are aware of the MMA fighter Ben Askren, you know that he suffered a really debilitating case of pneumonia such that he ended up in the hospital and required a lung transplant. And in one of his more recent videos, he said that, why did this happen to me? I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I never did weed. I never did anything like that. But yet I'm getting my lungs taken away. And he said, you know what? I would rather not dwell on sorrow or pity or anything like that. What happened has happened, and I'm going to move forward with that. And that is Kuma right here. Kuma is doing the exact same thing. Whatever happened to him, he continued to move forward. He never held any regrets. He never did anything like that. He was always grateful for everything that happened to him in his life. And you see that he has that smile on his face because in the distance, he sees all of his friends, all of his family, all the connections that he made in life. No regrets. And then lastly, we see that Dr. Vegapunk is crying because he knows that what he is about to do is going to be the equivalent of death. A walking death is what is going to be occurring to Kuma when he takes away his free will. But what must be done is done, and he was the hero for his friends and for Bonnie, but someone else will have to come along and be the hero for Kuma and everyone else. And that is why he decided to put his faith into Luffy. Told Dr. Vegapunk, give me one last command, that when I come to, I will go and protect the Thousand Sunny and wait for at least one of the Straw Hat crew to come back and reclaim the ship so that they can continue going forward. So that is pretty much everything about this video right here. And then we're going to go ahead and pick up the story in the present right here. We know that Bonnie was captured by Saturn. We're going to see the true extent of her powers. We're going to see, and there's going to be a surprise visit here by none other than her father, Bartholomew Kuma. Somehow he was able to override his functions of free will, and he's going to come and save Bonnie. I'm sorry, Dad. Bonnie's tears and Kuma's fist. And that is going to be it right there. Overall, this episode was a really good summation of everything before we get put back to the present. I like the fact that it tied up a lot of loose ends around what was happening 2 years prior to the war in Marineford. We now understand why Kuma was on Thriller Bark, why he went to Sabaody Archipelago. It was pretty much to protect the Straw Hat crews and to ensure that they can survive going into the new world. And then we, like I said, at the end of this, after the break, it was just a good summation of Kuma's life, which frankly, I think they could have just done that one episode and it would have just summarized everything for everyone. I would give this one, even though it had no action and everything like that, I loved it. I love this episode. I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5. Now we'll settle on an 8 out of 10. But those are my thoughts. What did you guys think of this episode? Did it meet your expectations? Did you find anything that was surprising, or was everything expected, or did it not meet your expectations? Whatever your thoughts, jump down in the comments and let me know what you think. And make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. You take it easy.